Mereka ragu, mereka takut, dan ada kecemasan saat mereka akan memasuki Malaysia. Satu hal yang tidak akan pernah terjadi di Australia, tapi ada di Malaysia. Di mana-mana di Malaysia itu ada, dan di Australia tidak akan pernah dijumpai.
1, 2, 3, come on!
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ketemu lagi di channel ini, masih bersama saya. Apa kabar Anda semua di sana guys ya? Tentunya doa yang baik-baik, semoga kita semua dalam keadaan sehat, dan ucapan terima kasih yang sebesar-besarnya kepada Anda yang selalu setia menonton video-video dari channel ini. Dan bagi Anda yang baru saja berkunjung, silakan kalian support juga dengan mengklik tombol subscribe, like-nya juga jangan lupa aktifkan notifikasi bell agar tidak ketinggalan update video terbaru dari channel ini. Ada yang baru lagi guys, ada sesuatu hal yang masih segar, fresh yang akan kita bahas di sini. Nah, ini kisah tentang salah seorang pria asal Australia. Bagaimana ceritanya? Yap, orang Australia ini yang mana orang Australia yang awalnya dia ragu ke Malaysia karena pikirannya ya bahwa Malaysia itu sama saja dengan negara-negara lain yang ada di ASEAN. Jadi konsepnya adalah negara manapun yang ada di ASEAN itu sama saja baginya, tidak ada bedanya. Awalnya dia berpikir seperti itu ya guys ya. Tapi setelah dia masuk di Malaysia, ada beberapa hal yang membuat dia kaget. Benar-benar dia shock dengan keadaan yang ada di Malaysia. Sebenarnya Malaysia itu rupanya berbeda dari apa yang telah dia pikirkan. Salah satunya adalah program yang telah dibuat oleh Malaysia, sesuatu hal yang positif yang telah terjadi di Malaysia, yang mana dia mengaku hal ini tidak akan pernah dia jumpai di Australia. Program positif dari Malaysia tidak akan pernah ada di Australia. Inilah pengakuan dari turis asing asal Australia tersebut. Dan pengakuan-pengakuan lainnya juga akan dia bahas di video ini. Dan hal apa itu? Ya, tentu sangat menarik untuk kita bahas bersama. Saya juga penasaran guys. Program dari Malaysia yang positif yang tidak akan pernah ditemui di Australia. Oke, tanpa banyak basa-basi kita akan masuklah ke dalam video itu guys ya, karena saya sungguh sangat penasaran, ingin segera menelusurinya. Ini videonya.
Think of Malaysia honestly. Did you feel safe? Did you have any culture shocks? Tell me what you thought of Singapore and which country had better food. G'day, my name's Jack, an Aussie expat living in Malaysia. I moved from Sydney to Kuala Lumpur almost 3 years ago, and in this video I'll be interviewing my dad about his first time in Malaysia. According to my YouTube stats, most of you are men older than me looking to live or work in Malaysia. Perhaps you have families or are even looking to retire. So I thought it would be an awesome idea to get my dad's first impressions about his time in Malaysia. I'm going to ask him about the good, the bad, and get the truth. Let's see what he really thinks. Welcome, Dad. Would you like to introduce yourself to the viewers?
Hi, my name's Warren. I'm a recently retired 60-year-old. I would call myself a true blue Aussie. I've travelled extensively. I'm happy to give an opinion and see what you guys got to think.
Awesome. So you first visited me in Kuala Lumpur in 2023, the middle of 2023, a bit over a year ago. Is that right?
That's correct. That's the first time I've been to Kuala Lumpur.
So we started in KL. We went up to Genting Highlands. We also went to Langkawi, and then we went to Singapore after that. Overall, did you have a good time?
Oh, very impressive. Very impressive. I'd been to Singapore many years ago. I was surprised how much things have changed in the last 20, 25 years or so.
Awesome. So we'll dig a lot more into that. The first question I want to know is, did you have any preconceived ideas of Malaysia, either before you went there or even before I moved there? What did you think of Malaysia, honestly? Did you even know anything about it?
All I knew was probably put in the category all Asian countries were much the same. You know, the street markets, the food halls, that sort of living. To my surprise, it was very different when I got there and what I saw.
Right. So would you say Malaysia is not very well known in Australia? Do you know many other people who visited there before you?
I do know people who've been there. They've had a surprise as well when they've got there. I suppose we were brought up in a certain way that describes or gives us the impression of how it's going to be. But nothing could be probably further from the truth. It's actually quite different.
Interesting. This is a question from a subscriber leading on from that. How did you react, or how did you feel when I said I wanted to move there for work?
Oh, I was not worried at all. I think you should chase your dreams, go wherever you want to go, and wherever the opportunities are in life. So I'm not concerned at all. So go ahead and have an adventure, enjoy yourself, and work hard and do well.
Awesome. So go where you're treated best, and hopefully you have supportive parents as well. Some of you don't, but sometimes you need to make a decision for yourself. So what were your first impressions about Malaysia when you landed at KLIA? I remember we picked you up from the airport. What did you honestly think?
Okay, I was very impressed with the state of the airport, or state-of-art airport, how good it was. We had this preconceived idea that Malaysia was like very basic, and when you got there you got hassled by security staff or customs officers, and I wasn't too worried because I didn't have any contraband or anything illegal. But having said that, once we got there and we saw everything, I thought, wow, this is quite impressive. It's actually a very modern airport. We went off to lunch, I think the government house somewhere. And I'll tell you one thing, we'll probably get to it later, what I was impressed with. I didn't feel out of place at all. I moved in straight away. English was well spoken, which I was very surprised at. I forgot actually I was in a country, like I'm used to going to places in Asia or parts of the world that are non-English speaking. Yeah, it gets a bit difficult to communicate sometimes, but none whatsoever. And I forgot all about it in Malaysia.
What did you think about the Muslim majority? Is that something you noticed? I remember when I landed at the airport for the first time, that's something different. I'd never really been to a Muslim majority country before. Did you notice that, or was that a factor?
I didn't notice it, not a factor, not concerned.
Great, so I think we can consider you a true blue Australian, a Westerner. I want to know, what were the major cultural differences you noticed in your time in Malaysia? How did you adapt to that? Did you have any culture shocks?
I wouldn't say any culture shocks. I was respectful that different culture to what I'm used to or what I've been raised and brought up with. But having said that, it was pretty all straightforward. I didn't see any major differences. I wasn't concerned one bit.
But did you have any trouble dealing with people? What's something you thought was weird or different? Or you can be honest, don't get offended.
No, nothing really weird. But the traffic threw me. That was quite amazing. I was staggered how disorganised it is and how much of a sham. It's just mayhem. Luckily for me, I wasn't driving, so it wasn't too much of a concern to me. But having witnessed it, you start to think, gee, there must be better ways to do this, But besides that, no, everything else was... I was quite impressed with the shopping centres, actually. I couldn't believe how modern they are and the modern stores. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting just your general stores, basic for your needs. But they had some very upmarket shops there. And
this was before TRX, which is where I work, in the TRX building, built by Lend-Lease, an Australian company. So that is definitely a world-class shopping centre. So can you share some of your most memorable experiences in Malaysia? And particularly, I want to touch on the luxury experiences, because I know you're someone, when you like to travel, you like to stay at resorts, the luxury all-inclusive. So your experience in Malaysia would have been quite different. We did quite a few different things. I mean, you stayed with us in my apartment, so maybe you can comment on that. We went to Genting Highlands, which was definitely a different experience. We also went to Langkawi, and the rooftop bar also was a good memory for me. So what do you think?
Okay, well, I suppose I was quite impressed with the accommodation, even staying in your apartment. I mean, the fact that you get a lift to the level and your apartment's on that level and that's it, you're the only person using that access to the unit. I was very impressed with that, like a penthouse situation. And staying at some of the other places, when we stayed at Langkawi, the resort there was very nice. Genting was an eye-opener. I was blown away by... I didn't know that it even existed. It was fantastic, just a beautiful place and plenty of luxury. Eating's one thing, but staying somewhere, there's so many nice places to stay.
Did you know Genting Highland has the world record hotel for the most hotel rooms in a hotel?
I do remember that, because when we caught the cable car there, you mentioned that there's something like 1,000 rooms or something, or massive. Yeah, so that was quite impressive. But as I say, overall, the reason I like to stay, like go 5-star, you sort of know what you're going to get. I've been to places in Europe where, that 4-star, you think that's going to be great, but they're 4 stars like our 2-star. So to hedge your bets a bit or be safe on the safe side, go 5-star. It costs you a bit of money, but at the end of the day, you know what you're going to get.
Absolutely. And Malaysia, you can get everything. You can stay cheap and you can stay expensive. So there's definitely luxury in Malaysia. As I said, the rooftop bar at EQ. So EQ is a 5-star hotel, and the rooftop bar, I think it's called Blue. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but how did you find the rooftop bar there looking onto the towers? Okay,
the rooftop bar was ultra impressive. I've been to quite a few rooftop bars and around the world, I suppose. That was fantastic. It was just a beautiful atmosphere, great vibe. I don't think you'd ask for much more, just beautiful music and atmosphere, as I said. But yeah, that was very impressive.
What do you think of the other buildings, the other landmarks? There was KL Tower. We went up there and we did the glass walk, remember?
Oh, yeah, that was a bit scary. I think when you're younger, you don't worry about it so much. But as you get older, you think, oh, dear. So on the glass, you look down, and that was quite impressive. That beautiful view, as was the towers. There wasn't anything that wasn't impressive. Even at night time, we went out at night, and it was. I felt safe. Wasn't too concerned with people there. Everyone was having a great time. As I said, there's not many bad things I can say. I didn't have any bad experiences there.
What's your honest thoughts on Merdeka 118, the second tallest building in the world?
Felt like a third of it was like an aerial or something, wasn't it? Like at the end of the day, is it really that high? I mean, I don't know whether it compares. I don't know what the big thing is about size or tallness or whatever. I don't see what the big drama is. It didn't really impress me too much. I was quite impressed with the towers. That was quite nice.
Let's get to food. Recently you tried my nasi lemak with kangaroo, but I
Nasi
want to talk about the
lemak.
food in Malaysia because they claim it's the best. They claim it's better than Singapore. And I know you like a good laksa and some of that Malaysian food, but did you know about the other Malay dishes? Did you know about the Chinese dishes? Did you know about the Indian food? I mean, we tried everything. What did you think of the food?
I'm pretty well up with the food. Like my go-to in Australia is actually Asian food of lots of different types, from Malaysian to Singaporean to Chinese. I was going to mention before, when we went and had food, we had food in top restaurants, we had food in five-star hotels, but we also had food in the markets.
Yep.
And they were fantastic. To me, it was very good value, very good quality. Didn't feel like I was eating something below par or anything. It was really good. So the food was, second to none. I couldn't be more impressed with the food.
The two that stood out to me was Pudu markets there, where we got all the different dishes. That was like a hawker centre. So that was a pretty cool experience.
The hawker centre, that's what I was trying to think of before, yeah. And those first Pudu markets we went to, that's authentic. That's authentic, Malaysian, but that was my impression. Like seeing that Pudu markets, that's how I thought all Malaysia was. Right. I thought all Malaysia was like that. And to get there and then be able to go to a top restaurant was like, wow, this is really, really cool. So you got the best of both worlds. You go to the cheaper places and all the top class restaurants.
Awesome. And the mamak, remember the giant, you said it's like the Eiffel Tower, the bread, the roti.
Yes, yeah, that was actually, they came out there. I remember that's what came out. I went, what's this? It was different, but it was very nice.
Great. So you're quite open-minded when traveling, so that's why I wanted to get out of Kuala Lumpur and go to Langkawi and have some authentic experiences there. So what do you remember about Langkawi? I remember we did the boat cruise, we saw some monkeys, we saw some eagles, we went to a secluded beach right near Thailand. What do you think of that?
Well, very good. I've been to Thailand before a couple of times, and I did feel the same. Like when we went to the park up there, or the national park, I think you'd probably call it here, and then we went on the cruise, and then we saw, as you just said, the monkeys and the eagles, and that was quite different and impressive. The secluded beach reminded me a lot of the beaches in Thailand, but very, very nice. Water was fantastic, and the weather was great. To finish off the day then and go back to a very nice hotel and by the pool, have a beer, and then plan your next day. It was very, very good.
Yeah, so Langkawi is a bit like a more family-friendly, conservative version of Thailand, I would say. Is that what you think?
Yeah. I'd be comfortable taking kids there as well, so no drama there at all.
Awesome. And you can get the ferry over to Khao something, the islands in Thailand. It's right nearby. We saw them on the horizon, so you can get the best of both worlds in northern Malaysia and Thailand.
Yeah, and everything went pretty smoothly. Like the flight there was very nice. It was not a long flight, but airport was very accommodating. Everyone was friendly. And I'd be happy to say if there was something negative or something that I wasn't impressed with, I'd say so. But I didn't find anything at all.
Great. So I got an interesting subscriber question relating to the beaches. Right now we're on the Gold Coast, which is known for its beautiful beaches, surfers paradise. And, when we go to the beaches, we can see how people dress. Obviously, Australia's become a lot more liberal and open. So the subscriber asks, did you notice any differences in the dress code at the beach? I think you know what they're trying to say. What do you think?
Oh, definitely. I mean, a lot more covered up, which is not something I'm used to. I mean, I wouldn't say I was born and raised on the beach, but we did go to the beach all the time. I just wear my board shorts, or as we call them, budgie smugglers, which is a smaller version. And the women in particular wear very little. It seems to be getting less and less each year. But no, I did notice that quite a lot, yeah.
If you are a bit more conservative or worried about, the family friendly, then Malaysia's actually up your path, because here a lot of the women are basically mostly naked.
Having said that, you don't feel out of place. You wear whatever you like. It's no big deal. There's no pressure to have to dress like that. It's just that they're very relaxed, I suppose, at the beach lifestyle here in Australia. I mean, I'm probably biased. I've been to a lot of beaches around the world. I did see some nice beaches in California. The beaches around the Gold Coast, northern New South Wales, to me are superb. Well, I think they're the best in the world.
I tend to agree, but some people might say the east coast of Malaysia, Borneo, has amazing beaches as well. So I'll have to check that out, and maybe we can go there and see what Dad thinks.
Happy to go to Borneo. I'd love to do that. It's got great beaches. I'll be there.
Awesome. So we touched on it a little bit, but this is an important topic, especially for expats or people looking to visit. Safety. How did you feel about safety? Did you feel safe in Malaysia at night or in general?
I felt safe the whole time. When we went to the city at night, and I'm always quite conscious, I suppose, at this age, you're brought up, you look over your shoulder a bit, see where your surroundings are. And when you're in a foreign country, you don't know whether you're a target, you probably stand out. But I didn't feel that at all. We went and took photos at night, walked around the lights and up the towers and all the rest of it. The only place I probably wouldn't go to when I see some of the areas that are, I suppose you'd call the more basic areas, right in the city as well, I'd feel as if I was imposing on their area. And I thought, I'm out of place there, and it looks like it's not safe, but from what I hear, it's fine to go there. I respect the way they live. That's the way it is. But that's the only place I probably wouldn't go, but everywhere else felt no drama at all.
Right, and we're both men, but what do you think about safety for women in Malaysia? Maybe it's a bit hard for you to say, but you have daughters. What do you think about safety in Malaysia? And did you notice, maybe at the time they didn't have it, but there's the female-only carriages on the train. What do you think about that?
I'm aware of that. They're actually introducing that into a lot of places in Australia as well. I have just as much concern for my daughters or with women in Australia as what I would in Malaysia. To me, they accommodated, they were conscious of it. I can't speak as, 100% because I'm not a woman, but at the end of the day, the safety I saw there would be no different to me catching a train in Sydney or Melbourne or a tram on the Gold Coast.
Right, and I think drinking culture plays a big part of that, the nightlife. So a lot of people here in Australia or in the West, they'll drink at night, they'll go crazy, there's violence, there's a lot of problems. But in Malaysia, typically there's less drinking, and I think people are more sensible if you stay out of, the dodgy areas. Would you agree with that?
Well, that's the other thing too. So in Australia, yes, if you go to the people, they advertise these, which I know they do in parts of Asia. There's been some recent incidents as well where people go for the cheap drinks. I've tried to educate my kids, it's not all about cheap drinks. It's a matter of get your sealed drinks, have a good time. That's great. But if you go to places that people just drink too much and go stupid, you don't want to be around those places.
That's a good point. I know what you were referring to there. It is important. The other countries, Laos, obviously Thailand has a much bigger nightlife culture, so I'm not really into that, and I don't think Dad's really into that anymore. We're a bit more sensible. Yeah, but Malaysia is definitely more
Yap, itu tadi video yang sudah kita reaksi bersama ya guys ya, secara mengejutkan, yang mana seperti turis-turis pada umumnya yang belum pernah ke Malaysia. Mereka ragu, mereka takut, dan ada kecemasan saat mereka akan memasuki Malaysia. Awalnya begitu, tapi setelah masuk Malaysia, maka ini yang terjadi. Beberapa hal yang telah dia sampaikan. Mungkin dia punya plan untuk di Malaysia hanya 1 minggu atau bahkan 2 minggu saja. Tapi setelah tahu bagaimana di Malaysia itu keadaannya seperti apa, maka tidak menutup kemungkinan untuk mereka akan stay lebih lama hingga 4 atau 6 bulan ke depan. Itulah yang selalu terjadi guys ya. Banyak turis yang sudah merancang hal itu ke Malaysia hanya 5 hingga 6 hari saja. Tapi setelah mereka tahu, kok orang-orangnya begini, kok bangunannya begini, kok infrastrukturnya begini. Ya tadi juga dibahas ya guys ya. Satu hal yang tidak akan pernah terjadi di Australia, tapi ada di Malaysia. Di mana-mana di Malaysia itu ada, dan di Australia tidak akan pernah dijumpai. Yaitu adalah gerbong kereta api yang dipisahkan antara laki-laki dan juga perempuan. Nah, ini disesuaikan dengan adab ya, dengan tradisi budaya yang melekat yang ada di Malaysia, dan juga ada kaitannya dengan religius atau keagamaan. Karena tidak boleh saling bersentuhan antara lelaki dan juga perempuan di agama Islam. Dan itu terjadi hingga di gerbong kereta api. Karena mungkin di mana-mana hal itu jika dibiarkan, maka akan sering terjadi tindak pelecehan dan juga hal-hal yang tidak diinginkan guys. Jika dilakukan hal demikian, dipisahkan antara gerbong lelaki dan juga perempuan, maka semua akan berjalan aman sesuai dengan harapan yang diinginkan selama ini. Dan juga pantai guys ya. Semua orang melihat sesuatu yang berbeda dari Malaysia tentang pantainya. Bagaimana guys? Ini sebuah aturan yang ditaati oleh semua orang. Ketika ke pantai Malaysia itu berbeda dengan pantai yang ada di luar negeri. Kita bahas Thailand guys. Di Thailand itu kan bebas orang, jika mendatangi pantai yang ada di Thailand, orang bebas berpakaian seperti apapun yang mereka inginkan. Tidak ada aturan yang mengajar atau mengarahkan mereka untuk berpakaian sesuai dengan yang seharusnya. Tidak ada. Makanya kalau turis-turis untuk datang ke Thailand, itu berpakaiannya ya pakaian seadanya saja guys. Pakaian ya seperti orang-orang di Eropa. Tapi kalau di Malaysia tidak ya. Ketika orang masuk pantai yang ada di Malaysia, maka orang-orang turis itu harus menghormati adab yang ada di negara tersebut, harus menghargainya dan mengikuti aturan yang ada. Karena kalau tidak kita berikan aturan tersebut, ya, tidak kita lakukan undang-undang, maka turis ini terkadang bisa semaunya dia berpakaian dengan tidak senonoh ya guys ya. Dan ketika kita sudah mengarahkan mereka dengan aturan yang kita berikan, maka mereka tentu akan siap tidak siap akan melakukannya. Tentu berpakaian yang lebih sopan, yang lebih santun, ya tidak membuat lawan jenisnya itu lebih guys ya, berhasrat gitu ya. Tidak seperti itu. Dan hal itu banyak mendapat pujian dari berbagai negara, turis-turis yang ada, terutama turis yang ada di Arab ya guys ya. Arab dan juga Indonesia. Kita lihat pantai-pantai di Malaysia begitu bersih, tapi didatangi oleh turis-turis yang mana berpakaian dengan sopan santun. Dan itulah aturan yang telah terjadi dan mereka semua mau menaati aturan yang telah berlaku di sana guys. Dan sekali lagi, pada umumnya, bagi mereka yang tidak tahu bagaimana keadaan yang ada di Malaysia, mereka bisa berspekulasi apapun tentang Malaysia. Mungkin sama saja Malaysia dengan negara-negara lain, terutama negara yang ada di ASEAN. Itu tidak ada berbeda, tidak jauh berbeda. Tapi lain halnya apabila mereka sudah masuk seminggu atau 2 minggu saja mereka di sana pasti akan rasakan sesuatu hal yang berbeda dari apapun itu, termasuk budaya, makanan, ya, infrastruktur, keramahan dan juga lain sebagainya ya guys ya, lain sebagainya. Baik, demikian tadi video aku, semoga video ini bermanfaat bagi kita semua dan aku mohon maaf jika ada kesalahan kata, kesalahan sikap pada dan semua mohon dimaafkan dan aku akhiri wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.